Colleagues, I'll now go to the next little bit of this story, if we can, with Dr. Cecily Jensen-Clayton. Now, Cecily, you are here. Do you want to have a go at sharing a screen, Cecily? And I'll explain why we've just got to care for Cecily a bit, because Cecily is joining us from Cyclone Alfred, right in the middle of it. So, Cecily, you still with us? I've seen you come in and out. Oh, Cecily's there. That's great. So, look, Cecily is an inspirational woman. I think I've known Cecily about 3 or 4 years, but I think she's got 2 doctorates, so she's an amazing human being. But she's one of those great people that we know of as futures researchers. Cecily's really interested in how leaders and leadership can enliven our communities, and she's very interested in, colleagues, inclusive entrepreneurship. So this is a wow for me. Cecily is a big-brained woman, and we're all about to learn a great deal if we can get her through a cyclone. Who knew this was a thing? Cecily, Miranda, my love, do you want to say hello? And if the screen is yours, good luck, my queen.
Thank you, Tara, and thank you everyone, because it's just so wonderful to be able to present my research that relates to the title of Mobilising Non-Compliant Futures. I've chosen this image on the right-hand side to represent the structural barriers that we face as women and as human beings. So, it'll continue throughout, just to remind us that there's a structure, and also that we have to transcend and change the landscape. So in this presentation, it'll be about futures thinking, about transcending negative effects of Western culture, futures thinking as trans-systemic thinking, about toggling between classical and quantum ways of imagining in this new energetic era that we're moving into. And futures thinking enacts non-compliant futures. And at the end of the presentation, I'll just give us 3 practical applications. So futures thinking, about transcending binary constructions and their conceptual challenges. It's about recognising the role that language plays in enabling and constraining what is thinkable, sayable, and doable. And it's about futures thinking, diffracting and transcending Western culture. And by diffraction, what I've got here is an image that I actually took the photo of light, diffractive light, and it was a glass of water on my sink on the windowsill, and the light shining through. And so this image is the diffracted light in my stainless steel sink. But it's about to show that diffraction is about seeing into reality, not just the taken for granted level that the Western culture has us constructing all the time. So futures thinking as futures intelligence diffracts old patterns of habitual thinking. So just to give you an idea of where I'm coming from here, my research is futures research. It's a post-disciplinary form of research and an open-ended form of inquiry. Futures research is always a learning journey, with the guide as the learner. Futures research is attentive to trends, and it avoids used futures. And by used futures, I mean the orientation to repeat the same or similar unhelpful patterns from the past. So about internalising futures intelligence, well, my research has developed a theory and philosophy that cultivates ways of thinking and working that produce new, different, alternative or even preferred outcomes. So futures intelligence is an ethical form of entrepreneurial thinking that toggles between classical and quantum ways of imagining. And the definition that I put together in 2020 was futures intelligence as a relational, futures-oriented intelligence impelled to find positive value, to seek out opportunities to add value or enhance existing value, maximise or amplify value in socially embedded and socially responsive ways. And as internalising futures intelligence enacts personal and professional development, futures intelligence over time becomes an approach to life. So it's internalised by employing two methodological tools, one being the entrepreneurial imagination and the second being the employment of intellectual virtue. So entrepreneurial imagining, and I take this term outside its masculinist and commercial context. As you can see, I've reinterpreted it in a much broader way. And it's ways of imagining that create a multiplier effect that result from life-loving thinking and acting. And here is the second methodological tool, which are the intellectual virtues, which in this presentation I'll only refer to the first three, which is curiosity, playfulness, and intellectual autonomy. So just to summarise futures intelligence, the goal of it is to increase intellectual autonomy by utilising the two methodological tools. And this is in order to diffract structural barriers. So futures intelligence is not about pushing boundaries. It's about crossing boundaries, recognising opportunities, increasing relational knowing, and nurturing relationships. So now we've come to the part of the practical application for triple R women in our experience. So I'm drawing, of the three of these examples, two of them are what I've experienced. And so it's about mobilising multiple alternative non-compliant futures by guiding others. So as a guide, I'm a learner, a researcher and an educator, taking others on a learning journey using the methodological tools. And as I said, there's no end goal of being this when you come to the end of the journey. There is no end to it. It's about embracing the mysteriousness of self-transcendence. And yes, it's a form of collaborative learning. So a couple of examples of the projects that people have run that help develop and nurture futures intelligence. One is by Kerry-Ann Hammermister, and she ran a workshop, women's leadership workshop, where she encouraged women to move beyond stereotypical metaphors associated with leadership and help the women develop their own personal metaphor for leadership, which interestingly most used nature metaphors. So that was really an interesting thing for me to see. Another project that Abdullah ran was about collaborative learning, where his students, he was introducing them to collaborative learning, and he used the methods, strategies and techniques that futures research provides. The other thing that I did was to become a board member, and I'm recommending this for triple R women. Even if you're doing a PhD, it's still quite possible. And this is the organisation I've been associated with, and it gave me opportunities not only to use and exercise my own leadership, whether it's leading from the front or behind or in the middle, but it gave me the opportunity to encourage others' leaderships in different ways so that they could exercise influence. And as I said, the futures intelligence promotes a multiplier effect. Now, it's not a magical effect. It's something that just happens because you think differently. You start to think more broadly. And this is about being a member, not only on the board you're on, but being a representative member on other boards. And so that your influence and your information sharing can be carried across these different groups. Now, I'm not suggesting being a board member is easy, not at all. It's actually a very difficult gig, but this is where Futures Intelligence makes the difference, because you take it on as a learning journey and you use the methodological tools to interpret your own experience and produce new, different or alternative realities. And you can also encourage other people to think that way too. So the third example that I have is encouraging women to participate as well as they can in male-dominant industries, in the RRR industries, which we know are all male-dominant, but using the intellectual virtues. For example, you can be playfully courageous. In Queensland last year, we have Beef Week every week, but last year the RRR women ran high tea in one of the pavilions every day of the week. Another example was the Camerata Orchestra who came, and they played, they brought operatic artists with them, but they did it with a difference because they performed in akubra hats, flannel shirts and work boots. So this is about taking things out of their silos and cross-fertilising. So it's also about creating access where there is none. So just to sum this up, Futures Intelligence is about nurturing allies. It's about diffracting old patterns of thinking and working. It's becoming fearless. Thank you, everyone. And here's just a few references. If anybody is interested, I can send them to you.
That is fantastic. Right now, Cecily, you've changed lives here. Jane and I we're losing our mind here, Cecily. You'll see in the comments, you are the most popular person in the Southern Hemisphere. Thank you for joining us in the middle of a cyclone, which is profound. And look, we are